Hey people, Andre here. Considering I'm recording in the Balkan equivalent of City 17, the quality of this video may be just as bad as anything else I release. Because ye goblins just went along with my nervous breakdown from the last presentation. Like it was some kind of academic mukbang. You smiled, you clapped, some of you even said it was entertaining or heaven help me, comprehensive. Which means one of two things. Either you goblins are lying to save face, or your standards have been thoroughly annihilated by group projects and TikTok edits of the Gulf War. That anything with citations and a PNG counts as a masterpiece. I love you though. So as a solution to this blatant war crime against higher education, I decided to double down. Because quite frankly, I'm not doing this for your entertainment, I'm doing this for the love of the game. Thanks to Yakub, peace be upon him, I was able to craft yet another piece of weaponized brain rot forged in the trenches of insomnia and geopolitical schizophrenia. Designed not just to inform you, but to make your head pop like a Yugoslavian pressure cooker. Now allow me to ventilate your cranium with a new hole, so I can directly inject the geopolitical sludge I'm about to unload. We're talking proxy wars, gunboat diplomacy, the Philippines, and a strategic region so contested it makes Cold War Berlin look like a game of Risk played by middle schoolers on Michael. Ready? Let's get to it. Today we're going to be talking about something shockingly unsexy but terrifyingly important. The geopolitical stick measuring contest between the US and China and the Indo-Pacific. Yeah, it's as dry as an old man's sock drawer, but don't worry, I've got you covered. Think of it like two drunk guys in a pub arguing over who owns the pool table, except the pool table is the Philippines. And also there's nukes. And also, the US might accidentally turn it into a forward operating base with a Starbucks on top. The Indo-Pacific, also known as the world's most expensive swimming pool, is the global chessboard where America and China are trying to play for the underwater mahjong with nukes. It's home to roughly 60% of the world's population, a metric ton of trade routes and more military bases than since. And right in the middle of it all, the Philippines, baby. Now the Philippines, bless them, are like the wee guy in the pub who accidentally stood between two big lads about to square up. They're strategically important because of geography, and we all know how much empires love geography. Shipping lanes? Check. Proximity to Taiwan? Check. Access to South China Sea, big old check. Well, that quite frankly, that's our sea. So, yes. That's why the Philippines constantly find itself covered by the US and China. When I mean covered, I mean courted. And think every think tank intern with a grant and a good God complex. Now, America's strategy in the Indo-Pacific is essentially to never leave. It's like when your mate crashes on your couch and says, he's only staying for a night. And suddenly, it's been 8 years and he's installed missile silos in your kitchen. The US insists it's preserving freedom of navigation and maintaining regional stability, which is politicians speak for, we can't keep being the big lad on campus and make sure China doesn't get too cheeky. And to do that, they've been leaning very heavily on the Philippines via defense agreements, military aid, and joint training drills where soldiers learn how to shoot coconuts. And recently, under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, Uncle Sam got access to more bases in the Philippines, not occupation of course, just strategic deployment. Totally different, like totally. Then you've got China. China's like the bloke next door who builds a fence halfway into your garden. plants a flag, and then acts confused when you get mad. The South China Sea is essentially Beijing's sandbox now, complete with artificial islands, missile systems, and enough fishing vessels to qualify as a naval militia. Beijing calls this the 9-dash line, which is their way of saying, we drew it, therefore it's ours. It's like a toddler drawing on your wall with crayon and claiming it is a sovereign territory, except now it's armed. So naturally, the Philippines goes to the UN, goes to ASEAN, goes to literally anyone who listens. But China doesn't care, because China knows it's big enough and rich enough to make things awkward. They'll build infrastructures, offer loans, and maybe gently strong-arm your economy into eternal debt, all while smiling and saying, we're brothers. Now here's the fun part. The Philippines has to play both sides without getting kicked in the teeth. On one hand, they've got the US, their longtime ally and low-key puppet master. On the other hand, there's China, their #1 trading partner and regional sugar daddy. So, what do? Hedge their bets like a degenerate gambler.
You got me.
They say yes to American security, but also yes to Chinese investment. They play both ends, try not to start a war, and hope no one notices they're quietly trying to secure energy and food security, while dodging World War III. They also realize, painfully, that if actual war breaks out over Taiwan or the South China Sea, they're first in the blast radius. No matter who they choose, someone's gonna be pissed. The Philippines' only hope? Diplomacy, neutrality, and praying that ASEAN actually grows a spine. The geopolitical competition has basically turned the Indo-Pacific into a powder keg wrapped in silk. The US wants to contain China, China wants to break free of US encirclement, and in between, smaller nations like the Philippines trying to maintain sovereignty without becoming someone's glorified launchpad. Expect more military drills, expect more hybrid warfare, expect cyber espionage, and diplomatic telenovelas. The Philippines will need to reinforce alliances, invest in its own military, and develop a foreign policy that doesn't read like a Tinder bio. All things to all people. So, what does this mean? It means the Philippines is the designated driver at a drunken family reunion. America's drunk, China's angry, and everyone's holding knives. And somehow, the Philippines has to get home without ending up in a ditch. The strategic environment will remain unstable, but not hopeless. As long as Manila learns to play the game like a pro, charm both sides, avoid full commitment, keep your economy diversified, they might just walk the light rope without falling into the South China Sea. Quite frankly, I'd like to keep it the West Philippine Sea. But, we can't all have our cake and eat it. Now, for anyone who wants to do some further reading on our subject, below I published a document available in Google Drive. It's full of actual sources and things that make you sound smart in front of the person you fancy. Use it to impress your friends or bore your enemies to death. I hope the quality of this video is subpar. If you value it, it's worth about $22 or 6 packs of Marlboro Reds here in Bosnia. I already put 60 hours into this, and honestly, it was worth it. As always, a warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Subscribe for more content where I replace international relations theory with ritualistic head trauma. Have a good one.